Welcome to another episode of Career Strategies. My name is Rodney Hughes, Mr. 100%. And in today's episode, what I want to talk to you about is how to respond to toxic coworkers. That's right, the toxic ones. And here's the deal. I want to talk to you about how to respond to toxic coworkers without losing your job. See, here's the thing. I can vividly recall my cousin telling me this much earlier in my career. She said, you know what, Rodney? There's a devil at every level. No matter where you go, there's always going to be that little devil showing his little head. And here's the deal. You have to be able to respond effectively when you're dealing with these toxic people, okay? Because sometimes you can't avoid them, right? And so you got to have some strategies that you're utilizing so that you don't end up getting the short end of the stick. So in today's episode, what I want to ultimately talk to you about is I'm going to share with you 5 key strategies that can help you respond effectively when it comes to responding to a toxic coworker. Let's talk about it. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the channel. In this channel, it is dedicated to sharing ideas, strategies, and concepts that will help you to avoid the major pitfalls in your career so you can become more successful in less time. So if that sounds like something you're interested in learning more about, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button, join the family, and I'll be dropping a new episode every Tuesday morning, and I don't want you to be able to miss out, okay? So go ahead and smash that subscribe button. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Strategy number 1. I want you to create a 5P elevated vision of your career. Okay, so let's start here. First off, let me explain what 5P elevated vision is. Okay, so the 5P stands for proper preparation prevents poor performance. Okay, let me say it again. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And then I say the elevated vision part. So let me explain what I mean by that. It is my belief that so many people in their career, they just go about it without a real vision. So most people, the way that they approach their careers, because they're just looking to get some money so that they can, make a living and things of that nature. Oftentimes, most people don't have a vision that goes past today. Right? They're not looking into the future for what it is that they want to accomplish. And so what I want you to do is I want you to have an elevated vision of where it is that you want to go with your career. So what do I mean? I mean, where do you see yourself realistically in the next 5 or 10 years? That's where you need to be thinking. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, what does this have to do with toxic people, responding to a toxic coworker? Well, here's the thing. When responding to a toxic coworker, if you do not have an elevated vision, and by the way, when I say the 5P part, which again is proper preparation prevents poor performance, meaning that if you're not preparing yourself for the next 5 or 10 years, when you come to face with that toxic coworker, you may make a short-term decision that's going to impact you over the next 5 to 10 years of your life. As an executive recruiter, now I know this might seem kind of weird or kind of interesting or whatever, but as an executive recruiter, I have seen some heartbreaking situations take place. Okay, I have seen candidates that I have personally represented be in situations where they are being judged in the present for something that they did 5 or 10 years ago. Okay, as if human beings do not evolve. Like, I can tell you with a straight face, I am not the same Rodney that I was 5 years ago. I am also not the same Rodney that I was 10 years ago. Okay, I have evolved. I have grown. In my opinion, I think I have gotten better, not only in my career, but as a human being. But what you got to understand is that, you will be judged based on how the people remembered you. So what I don't want you to do Because again, sometimes you can't avoid toxic coworkers. Okay. You're not in control unless you're the boss and you have the right to hire or fire. You have very little control over, the people that that you're surrounded by in your group. And so if you're having to deal with a toxic coworker, it is vitally important that you have a crystal clear, prepared, elevated vision of where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years. Because if you have that, and when I say the 5 P's again, if you are actively preparing yourself and you're looking at your vision that way, where you're actively preparing yourself, then what that means is that you have something to lose. Super important. You have something to lose, and it's important that you understand that you have something to lose, because when you come face to face with that toxic coworker, I do not want you getting overly involved in your emotion and taking actions that are going to impact you for the rest of your life. Okay, so that's why that's the number 1 strategy. All right. Strategy number 2, play your own game, not theirs. So what do I mean about this? So I want you to play your game. Okay. This is just a general, like philosophy that I kind of live by anyway. Okay. I want to play my own game. I'm not trying to play anybody else's game. All right. And so there are certain things that I'm going to do, and there are certain games that I'm not going to play. All right. And so when you're dealing with toxic coworkers, a lot of times they're going to try to take you to the dark side. Okay. They're going to try to get you to play into their game. Okay. But I don't want you to play into their game. Okay. That's a dangerous thing when you start playing into other people's games. You know why? Because you're ill-equipped. See, when you're playing into someone else's game, and believe me, when you're dealing with a toxic coworker, you got to understand that they are playing their own game. Okay. And they don't care about fair in their game, right? Because in their world, it's all about what benefits them. Right. And so the thing is when you're dealing with a toxic coworker, the first thing you need to be consciously aware of is that they are playing their game, and you do not need to go and join them in their game, because you will lose when you start playing their game. Okay. So I want you to be focused on what your game is. I want you to be focused on what your strategy is for your career. Okay. And avoid playing into their game. Strategy number 3, you're not a mechanic. Don't try to fix them. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Okay. So it is not your responsibility. And please listen to me clearly on this. Please follow me. It is not your responsibility, okay, to go fixing people in this world. And especially when it comes to your coworkers. Okay. That's not your responsibility. It is not your responsibility to fix someone who is broken inside. Okay. So if they're being toxic, okay, you didn't get hired on that job to fix them of their attitude or to fix them of the issues that they got going on inside under their hood. Okay. That's not your responsibility. And the reason why I say this is because I have actually seen people throughout my career try to help people who they feel are toxic and trying to teach them how, help them realize how they're toxic in their own ways. And a lot of times when I've seen people do that, it's actually backfired against them. Okay. If I identify someone as being toxic, a coworker of mine as being toxic, I want as little to do with you as humanly possible. Okay. Because I don't have time to try to fix you of whatever has you being toxic. That's not my responsibility. Okay. I'm just being honest with you here. Okay. That's your problem. And I'm not about to make your problem my problem. Okay. And so I want you to think about it like that too. You only have a certain amount of time in your career. Okay. One day you'll look up and you've been working for 10 years. The next day you'll look up, you've been working for 20 years. And the next day you'll look up and you've been working for 30 years. And now you might be about ready to retire. Okay. You don't have time to be fighting battles that you can't win. You don't need to be trying to fix people. You're not a mechanic. Okay? Strategy number 4. Pick and choose your battles. When necessary, I want you to calmly address a situation head on. Listen to me now. Listen to me. Not every situation needs to be addressed. Okay? You got to pick and choose your battles. Stop thinking, don't feel like you have to fight every single battle. Like, listen, when it's appropriate, there's an appropriate time to fight and there's an appropriate time to leave a situation alone. Right? And you got to look at it that way. You got to look at it like, is this worth fighting? Is this worth fighting for? Or do I just ignore this and just keep moving forward with my plan? Okay? That's how I try to look at things. And because of that, that will actually allow you to have a lot more peace. Okay? But listen, there are some situations that are unavoidable. There are some situations where it is absolutely the right move to fight for what's right. Okay? And you got to be able to fight. Now, here's the key though. Okay? If you're going to fight, okay, against something that's going on with that toxic coworker, okay, if you're going to fight, here's what I want you to keep in mind. I want you to focus on facts and policy, not opinions and emotions. Now, let me tell you why. Because facts and policies are things that can actually be argued. Okay. But when you start diving to the level of dealing with emotions and opinions, okay, everybody has an opinion, everybody has emotions, and they're all subjective, right? But when you start talking about focusing on facts and policy, that's objective, right? And see, you can actually win in a situation like that. Don't allow yourself to get so overly emotional and opinionated about a certain situation. Focus on the facts, focus on the policies, and that's the only thing you need to argue. Because if you start focusing on opinions and focusing on emotions, understand this, at that point, you are now playing their game. All right. And then strategy number 5, here goes the one. Okay. In the worst possible case scenario, okay, if you can't resolve issues, if you can't avoid the toxic person, you only got one life to live. Okay. I firmly believe this. I believe that there's so much opportunity in this world that you do not have to be committed to staying in a messed up situation that's going to impact your mental health. Okay. And so here's the thing, in the worst possible case scenario, sometimes the best thing for you to do is to start planning an exit strategy. Okay. But here's the thing, I want you to create a tactful exit strategy, right? I don't want you, if you find yourself dealing with a toxic coworker that you cannot avoid, right, and it's wearing down on you, don't stay in that situation, but also don't leave a mess behind you. That's a thing that I firmly believe in. Okay, regardless of how you're feeling, okay, don't leave a mess behind you. Okay, make sure that when you leave, that you leave on appropriate terms. Okay, make sure that you do your best to leave in the best possible way that you possibly can. Okay, because, and here's why I say this. Okay, even if everybody around you is toxic, don't go in the office and say, F you, I'm out of here. Okay, don't go in and say, I quit now. Right? I wouldn't do it. Okay, and you know why? Because some of those same exact people, okay, may be the ones that open up doors of opportunity for you down the line. Okay, I'm a firm believer of this. You don't know where people are going to be 5-10 years from now. Okay, and you never know how these people might be able to impact your life. Okay, I've been in situations, I've been in my career long enough now to where I've seen people who at one point I felt were like enemies. Okay, that down the line, they ended up opening up doors of opportunity for me. Okay. But that would have never happened if I didn't tactfully exit that situation. If I would have just left a mess behind me, then that door will be closed for the rest of my life. Right. And I don't want you to get so overly emotional about a situation that you leave a mess behind you. Okay. So now you know how to respond to toxic coworkers. Okay. And it's super important. And here's the deal. Now you know how to respond to toxic coworkers without losing your job. Okay. If you leave a job, leave on your own terms. Okay. But here's the thing. Do you know, if in the worst case scenario, okay, do you know how to actually go out into a cold marketplace and hunt down another job opportunity and avoid the major pitfalls that cause people to fail in the job interview process if you had to do so in the worst possible case scenario? Well, here's the deal. I want to give you a free copy of my book, The Ugly Truth About Getting Hired, How to Land a Job of Your Dreams Regardless of the Competition. In this book, I'm going to literally teach you a step-by-step system for positioning yourself as the ideal candidate of choice for any job that you are qualified to attain. If you'd like to pick up a free copy of this book, go ahead and click the link beneath this video or podcast in the description area, or you can go directly to my website, which is www.theuglytruthbook.com. Again, that's www.theuglytruthbook.com. And let's say it one more time, www.theuglytruthbook.com. Listen, thanks for checking out today's episode. Hopefully you got great value, and I will see you in the next episode.